Okay, today I want to talk about widening my cozy. Lots of people have discussed it in the forums. It has been done several times, but most people haven't really wanted to discuss it for whatever reasons. Forum opinion can be a brutal place. However, I will talk about mine. So to start with, let's talk about the original widening of the cozy, which was a long easy, sliced in half and widened by Nat Puffer. So he took a long easy, widened it, and I may or may be off on the length here, but he ended up in testing chopping 6 inches off the long easy canard, which is incredibly counterintuitive if you think, well, now instead of one person in the front, I now have 2 people in the front, more weight. Therefore, I need more canard. So my understanding is the bottom of the aircraft at a 2-degree angle is a lifting surface. How much of a lifting surface? I don't know. I've asked other people, and nobody's taken the time to do the math, I guess, but just through testing, they came up with the length of the canard on the cozy, and it works. So, here I come along, and I want to widen my cozy by 6 inches. So I go ahead and start planning on building my aircraft. The reason I did this is the cozy was designed by Nat Puffer and his wife, much smaller people. I believe they were probably 150, 120 pounds each respectively. I've flown in 2 cozies before I really got serious about this. About building, and my shoulders were just wedged. So I went ahead and widened the entire fuselage by 6 inches, which means I also had to extend the nose by, I believe, about 18 inches longer so it would look proportional. I think it came out looking good. However, the longer you make your nose in front of the canard, you're going to have a little bit more resistance when you're trying to maneuver tightly. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, a cozy by definition is the family model. It's not the sporty model. So I went ahead and widened my aircraft, talking to various people that we all know in our group about the effect of widening it. That's what was brought to my attention, that the bottom is a lifting surface, and therefore I was asked, oh, how much did you take off your canard to compensate for it? The answer is 0, because I didn't think about that. So I still have the same amount of canard poking out as a regular cozy, but I also have 6 inches wider on the bottom of lifting surface. How much more lifting surface? I don't know. I have been flying it. It seems to fly fine. I haven't had any issues that I am aware of, but I'm not a veteran canard flyer, so I wouldn't know the difference. So here's what it comes down to. If you do decide to widen your airplane or make any structural modifications, you're on your own. This is not approved by anybody. It works so far, but it works until the day it doesn't work, right? If I'm not doing too much crazy stuff, I'm not really worried at this point. I have, lots of landings, different speeds, all sorts of different maneuvers. It seems to fly fine. So anyway, now that I've thrown out this disclaimer that I haven't died yet, let me talk about what I did to widen my airplane for everybody to see. So the first thing I want to say is the canard sticking out from the side of the fuselage is the plan's length. The wings are exactly to the plans. The strakes are exactly to the plans. So everything from the fuselage out is exactly per plans. They don't have no clue that they're on a wider cozy. It's the same. So right here under my cover, I have 6 inches more width in the canard. I called Eureka CNC. They were more than happy to add the 6 inches in the middle and send me 6-inch wider foam. I also added 6 inches into the spar in the very center. So there's 6 inches more distance there. The other place that I did reinforcements because of the widening is the box. The box that attaches your landing gear up to your spar. Because you want your attach points for your landing gear are going to be exactly in the same place that they are per plans. But the distance from those bolts to the corners, which is your strength box you build, is 3 inches further apart on each side. And therefore, you need to beef that up because it's a greater distance, therefore a greater moment of stress going further away from the bolts up towards the spar. That's really the only real structural difference that I changed in the fuselage to compensate for the widening of the aircraft. Benefits from widening the airplane would include, if you come down and look down the side of the aircraft, you'll notice I really don't have an engine blister. I mean, maybe. It's like a little bit of a midlife crisis bulge, but pretty much it's pretty streamlined. The width of the airplane almost brings it right out to the width you need for the engine. So in that area, I actually think it's a much cleaner design. The other benefit, of course, and this is why you would widen it, is the added cabin space. Now, I did lose some instrument panel with my front hinge canopy design, but I've made it up with 6 inches more width. Plus it gave me a center console. I probably have more hip space without a center console, but I don't need more hip space. I needed more shoulder space. And it is significantly roomier in here. I mean, it's night and day. This is definitely the family model deluxe when it comes to that. Another added bonus is you get a much bigger firewall. You got a lot more room there. It's not near as tight near the engine mounts and what have you. One of the downsides, though, is if you can see, well, I have the 540 in here too. I'll do another video on the 540 and the benefits, pros and cons, and what have you there. But with this wider airplane, that cowling is so much bigger. I've had my cowlings next to a regular Cozy cowling with a 4-cylinder, and this is like double the size. It is made out of carbon fiber, but it's still a bit heavy. And my airplane generally is heavy. I think its empty weight was 1436, something like that. It's right there in that ballpark, but I believe that's it. Anyway, so I haven't had any bad experiences flying with the wider airplane. It's comfortable. It's not near as sporty. I don't really buy into these, the different widths making a huge difference on top speed. You have long easies, which are much narrower, and they cook along real nice. Cozy 3s, Cozy 4s, and being down at Canard several times, Cozy 3s with the same engines consistently beat all the long easies. Sometimes a long easy will come along that will be faster, but they're neck and neck. Or, there's just, it's not how much air you separate as much as how you bring the air together. Thank you for watching, and I will get to a video on my 540 at some point and talk about that. If anybody has any questions, put your questions below, and I will answer them the best I can. Anyway, blue skies.